Greetings. Today we have the moon going from Scorpio into Sagittarius. So shift in energy today. We also have some interesting things kind of cooking in the sky that are going to be building as we head into late June and early July here. One of them is Mercury about to station retrograde on the 29th. We have a Capricorn full moon on the 29th. We also have Mars going from Taurus into Gemini, and then Jupiter going from Cancer into Leo. So lots of change. I actually want to share my screen today and show you the chart for those of you who follow and are interested in seeing the actual chart to see what I'm talking about. And even if it's all Greek to you, I think you might enjoy this. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Friday, June 26th. So things are just beginning to get to these some more intensity. Great. And I have this set to 0 degrees Aries for a house system because we are all in different parts of the world, and so it doesn't make sense to show you the houses because I'm not looking at a location. So for our purposes here, just completely ignore the houses. We are really just looking at the planets and their signs and their relationships to each other. So let me get my pen here. Okay, so first you notice here is the moon goes into Sagittarius right around 11:40 a.m. Pacific time. And so it's been in Scorpio. We've been doing that deeper dive. I've been talking about self-love and transformation and your own deeper truth for the last couple of days, really being honest with ourselves and connecting with what is maybe more authentically at our essence. So what happens today is, and just before this, the moon goes into Sagittarius, it forms an opposition to, to Mars. Here's Mars. Kind of hard to draw, but an opposition to Mars at 28 degrees Taurus. And so that near the end of Taurus here, Mars is getting ready to leave Taurus. And Mars in Taurus Mars is our planet of action. It's very methodical in Taurus. So it's slow moving, it is logical, it is sensible, it is practical in Taurus. And that is how we move, how we go about accomplishing things. Once Mars goes into Gemini, things really speed up. And then, of course, Mars is going to be it's going to be going toward this Uranus here. This is Uranus. And that will really spark some things shifting in unexpected ways as well. So that is also intensifying here as we head into next week. So when the moon goes into Sagittarius, it then a few hours later forms an opposition to Uranus. So what we have today going on is a little bit of the moon activating these first Mars in methodical Taurus and really reminding us, where do you need to move something forward, to get hands-on, to get practical, and to really think it through. Be thorough, be in the arena of what makes sense, what is logical, and what needs to happen on a very step-by-step, realistic way. Because we're going to be really finishing that as we head into Mars at 29 degrees Taurus, the anaretic degree, which will happen over the next couple of days. And that Mars moving into that final degree of Taurus brings something to culmination brings something to the surface, brings something to a reckoning point about what needs to move forward methodically. And so it's like we're putting the pieces in place here so that things can start to click. Once Mars goes into Gemini, there's just going to be that energy of clicking and shifting and light bulbs coming on and lightning bolts coming in and things like that. So it's like, what do you need to put in place so that can happen? So we've got Mars activated by the moon today. Then we've got Uranus activated by the moon a few hours later. And again, that Uranus in Gemini is really about shifts in consciousness, about shifts in thinking and sudden insights and disruption and unexpected developments, especially related to news and information and communication and so there's really here the potential for something to show up in the news that is really activating. But as always on this channel, we talk about what can you do about it, what is it, how does it apply to you, and how can you be an active and engaged participant in these energies. So look around your own life and ask yourself what needs to be put in place, what needs to be thought through, what practical steps do I need to take to bolster the foundations that support those sudden shifts of communication coming in a way that I can work with them. So what would that look like? Just to throw some examples out there, it might look like getting something in order. It might look like taking care of your body, organizing your kitchen or making food so that you have things ready so that if things start to move quickly, you kind of have those physical supports in place. So those are some things to think about. And also you might see here what is also heating up is over here in Cancer. We have Jupiter and Mercury. Moon is in a trine. In fact, it's in a grand trine it's in a grand trine in fire with the moon and Neptune, but the moon is in a trine with Jupiter at the end of Cancer. And that's a water sign. So it's late water, early fire, which if you're an astrologer, you know that usually grand trines are in one element or the other, unless they are close to the cusp where those signs change. So this one is activating Jupiter at 29 now degrees Cancer. So Jupiter is coming to its last degree of Cancer. And for the last year, we have been focusing on our beliefs about caring. To sum it up in a nutshell, Jupiter is the principle of expansion, but it also has to do with our understanding, our bigger picture of thinking and how we organize our thoughts. So it has to do with synthesis and integration of ideas to put things into a story or a framework so that we then can work with it. And in Cancer, we're talking about how we organize our thinking about caring, about emotions, about needs. How do we get our needs met? What are our needs? What are our neighbors' needs? What are the needs of the people in the world at large? So focusing in the collective on themes of food and food insecurity, healthcare and lack of healthcare, things that take care of people, housing. It's like, how are we going to answer these questions? And that has been a big theme of the past year in terms of how are we going to think about that. So we have at 29 degrees Cancer, Jupiter bringing something to the surface for reckoning, for a final look at what is here for us to work on, what is going to go with us as Jupiter enters Leo that is unresolved, and having that feeling of something coming to awareness about what we need to see and understand related to caring and needs, how we think about our own self-care, but also how we think about caring in the world. And not only that, but we have Mercury here getting ready to station retrograde. So on Monday, June 29th, on the same day as that Capricorn full moon, Mercury will go retrograde, and it will get very, very close to Jupiter on that day as it stations. So right before Jupiter goes into Leo. So almost conjunct, but not quite. Mercury bringing again something to a head related to information, communication, new ideas, headlines, thinking, and how we talk about things related to caring and needs, and how we take care of ourselves and how we take care of one another. So these themes being activated in the public dialogue and discourse, and how we give and share and receive information. So that is all kind of a big deal. And then Jupiter at 29 degrees Cancer, then it goes into Leo, where we begin the next year theme of Jupiter in Leo. So we're moving out of our beliefs and organizing information and our understanding and how we tell the story from themes of needs to themes of Leo. Who's in charge? Who's the center of attention? Who's the performer? How is that performance received? The idea of where the center of authority or autonomy is, right? Is it in a king or royalty type of figure, or is it in ourselves? So who is the king? Are we giving our power to some central figure, or are we reclaiming our power to be our own autonomous individual who has feelings about things, right? So we're I think we're stepping into that potential for empowerment if we choose to step into our own power, because the other possibility is that we look to somebody else to be that figurehead, to ask someone to be the person, the figure taking care of us. And as we head into mid-July, Jupiter will move into 4 degrees Leo, which will be in an opposition to Pluto at 4 degrees Aquarius, and in a trine to Neptune at 4 degrees Aries, and Uranus will be at 4 degrees Gemini by then. So these 4 planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what we're you can see it kind of coming into alignment here, this cradle formation that I've been talking about. And I'm going to do a terrible job of drawing a straight line, but here you can see these are the sextiles. This is the opposition, and these are I almost got it right. Okay, those are the trines. So people are calling it Barbeau's basket because astrologer named Andre Barbeau wrote about this configuration. But so maybe you see a basket there. It's called a cradle. It's also really, really potent because these are outer planets. Not only are they outer planets, this is again Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. So not only are they outer planets, but they're in order, which I just find so incredibly interesting. So The slowest moving here is Pluto. The next slowest moving is Neptune. And the next slowest moving is Uranus. After Uranus is Saturn. So Saturn's not in the cradle here at this time, but it was in February. It joined up with Neptune. Anyway, the fourth, where are we? Fifth slowest planet is Jupiter. And so that one is in this cradle formation. We will, as we head into mid-July, also have the moon, of course, joining Jupiter and also forming, one of the points, because the moon moves pretty quickly. So it'll maybe be in that fifth point in, let's see, in Libra, right? So it would actually be here. Anyway, you get the idea. So it's pretty cool. And this upcoming Monday's Capricorn full moon has all of these things going on. So Mars will be changing signs from Taurus to Gemini. Jupiter will be changing signs from Cancer to Leo, which only happens once a year. Jupiter spends about a year in a sign. Mercury will be stationing retrograde. So, and all the planets are moving into this big cradle formation. So anyway, that is coming up on Monday. And one of the reasons it's kind of cool today is, let's see, is if we move the moon ahead. So we move ahead here in the day, I can move things forward here in the time. So what you see is that later in the day, we've got the moon at 4 degrees Sagittarius. So adding another sextile here. So activating all of these that we just looked at. We've got also trines. Forgive my drawing. You get the idea. Anyway, big deal. So that is today. We're looking at the chart for Friday, June 26th. And with the moon in Sagittarius, we, as always with the Sagittarius moon, get to think bigger picture. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. See how I do that. Okay, there we go. Moon going into Sagittarius around 11:40 a.m. Pacific time means that we get a little bit bigger picture. We are more reflecting on what is happening, what is the meaning of it, what is the story of what is unfolding, how do we want to tell that story? Because remember, a story is not one thing. It can be like as many different people and as many different tellings. It can be a different thing, right? And so in the news, we call that narrative and spin. And so thinking about what is the narrative that you're being fed, Mars, again, in Taurus here is asking us to take care of ourselves and to put things in order so that we have that foundation of safety and dependability. We're building that foundation. And then as things unfold, we can look at what is the story we could tell about what's happening, right? There's always, some people call it the silver lining, right? Something bad, quote unquote, is happening, but there's a silver lining. There's also just a completely different way to tell a story. So here's one example. Something bad happens in your day, but later you find out that that was actually a good thing, because if it hadn't happened, something else couldn't have happened that was really good, right? When I was a kid, I had a book that every other page, I don't remember the name of the book, but I really, really remember how one page said, fortunately, this happened. And the next page said, but unfortunately, something else happened. And the next page said, but fortunately, this happened also. And the next page said, but unfortunately, it was like this. And the next page said, but fortunately. So you see, like, we can constantly reframe the story of what is happening. So that is your homework for today. is whatever is happening, whatever is unfolding, how could you tell a different story? How can you take care of yourself and keep yourself on course for being true to who you are and keeping on moving forward, one foot in front of the other, saying no? Maybe I did a podcast episode on weeding and feeding, right? So saying no to what you do not want. That was episode 3, in case you missed it. Say no to what you don't want, because it's coming clear, it's surfacing in our awareness, and you get to see it. And when you see it, you can go, wow, that is really what I do not want. And that is a kind of clarity. You also can notice, oh, hey, I liked that thing. That really worked for me. I would like more of that, please. And focus your energy and your attention and intention on what you do want. So I know that was kind of a long one for today, but thank you for looking at that chart with me. Let me know if you liked that, if you appreciate seeing the chart. I can't always do it, but that was feels like an important time to really look at these things that are heating up and shifting and what it all means, and why it might be a crazy time, but also, again, we are in this moment of possibility if we are looking at it the right way. So I guess that's the message. And thank you for being here. I am Marina Orms. You can join my member program at transformationalastrology.com. I have free and paid levels with deeper support. And thank you for subscribing to this YouTube channel and to my podcast and following my new podcast, Astrology Heals. I am here every day with astrology for unshakable self-care, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.